Hello and welcome to Shannon Gardens. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So this week I'm bringing the video inside to discuss a plant that a lot of us use to decorate in the holiday season, and that is the lovely poinsettia, just like the one that I have right here. So I wanted to take you guys on a recent nursery visit that I made where you can see some of the different varieties and colors that are offered in poinsettia plants. I don't know about you guys, but up until probably a handful of years ago, I did not realize just how many varieties and color options there are in poinsettias. And so I wanted to share what I've come across in my local nursery just to give you guys an idea of what's out there. And then we'll come back here and go over some tips on how to keep your poinsettia happy and healthy throughout the holiday season. All right, you guys. So with that, let's get to it. I arrived at the nursery and saw a variety of poinsettia colors out on display. Just look at all these varieties. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Now, the first here that I came across is the Golden Glow poinsettia, which has these beautiful bright yellow bracts that stand out against the dark green leaves. Likewise, the Norwin Orange has the beautifully bright orange bracts against dark charcoal-like green leaves, again highlighting that wonderful contrast between the leaves and the bracts. Next is the J'adore Pink, and just look at this lovely pop of pink. I really like the outside rim there of the bract, how it's outlined in the white. And what I really found neat about this variety was the slightly curled leaves that added dimension to the plant as well. Next up, we have Ice Crystals, which has a cream color down the center that turns pink toward the outside of the bracts. Now, one thing that I did want to point out is the bracts are the colored leaves, and the flowers are the little yellow flowers here in the middle of the bracts. There's the Marble variety, which has beautiful bicolored bracts that are ivory on the outside, and then this wonderful pink toward the middle. There's Poinsettia Soft Pink, which is a beautiful blush color, and then Poinsettia Pure White, both with smaller bracts than your traditional poinsettias, but no less impactful in my opinion. There's Poinsettia Premium White, which has cream-colored bracts, and then Poinsettia Premium Red, which are more of your traditional poinsettias with the large red bracts and emerald green foliage. Now this one's really unique. It's called the Winter Rose Red, and it has curled, ruffled red bracts that sit on top of the foliage. It kind of reminds me of a little ice cream cone or puffball on the top of the foliage and how it sits. Last, we have the Poinsettia Tapestry, which has red bracts and also has variegated green bracts, which is pretty and different from what you normally find. All right, you guys, so as you can see, the poinsettias come in a lot of different colors and varieties that you can choose from. Now, one thing that I did mention earlier that I wanted to point out here is that the bracts, so here you can see this red leaf, the bracts are actually colored leaves that turn colors in response to the shorter days of winter. But the flowers themselves are the little yellow flowers here in the center of the bracts, and those are called cyathea. So these are the actual flowers. I hope I'm pointing correctly. Let's see. Yes, these are actually the flowers here in the center of the colored leaves, and the colored leaves are known as bracts. Now, it's said that the colorful bracts here actually help in attracting pollinators to the flowers themselves. So that's the purpose of the bracts, which I found really interesting. So when talking about different tips to help your poinsettia last through the holiday season, I thought we'd first touch on sunlight. Poinsettias prefer bright, indirect, or diffused light. They don't like direct light because it can burn the plant, and so that's something you don't want to do, but they do like bright light. So you'll want to consider a place that has that bright indirect light or diffused light to put your poinsettia near. Now, I did want to mention that because I usually leave my poinsettias in foil containers, during the day, I actually fold the foil down. So I'll fold it down like this, just so the sunlight can get to the entire plant. And then at night, I'll put it back up so that it can look nice and pretty. And usually I have lights at the base, so it reflects off the foil and everything. So I just put that down during the day just so that sunlight can get to as much of the plant as possible, and then fold it back up again in the evening. As far as the temperature that they prefer prefer. Poinsettias are tropical plants, so they really prefer to be in a temperature range of 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit for a longer bloom season. Now, you'll want to be careful though when you're selecting your location for the poinsettia. You don't want them near a cold or drafty area like a door or a window, because that can cause leaf drop if they get cold. And then you also don't want them to be near a heating vent or a fireplace, because that can dry them out too quickly. So you want to be aware of that and just keep them away from those doors and windows, as well as the heating vents and the fireplaces, to keep them in a more ideal location. Now, as far as watering the poinsettia, they can be a little temperamental. They like moist soil. They don't like to be overwatered, and they don't like to be underwatered. So I tend to check them quite often, especially with the drier air in the wintertime, because we're running our heat. And so there's not a lot of moisture in the air and it's pretty dry, even if they are away from the heating vents. So I check the moisture quite often. And so what I'll do is I'll just stick my finger in the top inch or so of soil, and this is moist right now. It does not need to be watered. And I'll check to see if it's dry and needs watering, or if it's moist and doesn't need watering yet. Now, after a couple of weeks of doing this, I actually get pretty used to the weight of the plant itself, and then start judging just on the weight. I can just pick up the plant, and of course I buy the smaller plants, so it's pretty easy to pick up, but I just pick it up and can judge where it's at moisture wise inside that pot with how heavy the plant feels. So you can do it that way, or if you get used to it and feel comfortable doing it that way, you can certainly do that. But you can definitely check that top inch of soil if that's more preferable to you, and if you feel more comfortable in monitoring the moisture that way. Now, when I do water, and this is pretty important, is these plants do not want to sit in their water. Now, as I mentioned before, I keep my plants mostly in the foil containers. So when I water, I take them out of the foil containers, and you can see here the little pot has holes here at the bottom, and that provides nice drainage. You really want these plants to drain when you water them. So I will water here at the top of the soil, and I'll try not to get the leaves wet. I'll water and allow this to thoroughly drain out before putting it back into my foil or into my saucer. And that way they aren't sitting in water and won't get root rot. So that's something to definitely keep in mind when you're watering, is just to make sure that you are allowing these to thoroughly drain before you're putting them back into your foil or saucer. Now, as far as fertilizing, these are fertilized in their growing season, so they actually don't need to be fertilized in the holiday season. So that's not something that I worry about. Now, there's a lot of information out there about keeping poinsettias year round, and I will say that I treat these as annuals. I haven't tried to keep them year round. I just found, for me anyway, that it seems to be kind of temperamental and time intensive, and I'm just not sure that it's worth it, at least for me, to try to do that. So I really view them more as annuals, and I keep them around the holidays and for as long as they'll live after that, and still look pretty, and then I'm done with them and I just get them the next year. However, if you guys have had any experience in keeping them year round, I'd love to hear from you. So please let me know in the comments if that's something that you've tried your hand at. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I love the poinsettias and the holiday season and sharing the different varieties with you guys. So thank you so much again. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you can be notified each time I upload a new video. All right, you guys, until next time, happy gardening and goodbye.